All good? Okay. Welcome everyone, 5:30. So declaration of tonight's forum meeting is made at 5:30 p.m. For those members of the gallery, members of the public, and anyone online, tonight is a question and answer night. It's a forum, so councillors get to ask questions about all the items. We have an ordinary council meeting next week where we'll make decisions on every item that's in front of us. So we are on page 6 of our agenda. Item number 2, then it's opening procedures. 2.1 is acknowledgement of country, and I'd like to invite Councillor Menchelli to present the acknowledgement of country.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. The Shire of Northam would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Balladong and Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Thanks, Councillor Menchelli. So item 2.2 is recording of council meetings. Members of councils are aware, and members of the gallery may not be, but they will be now, are advised that this meeting is being live streamed and audio recorded, and it's made available on the Shire of Northam's YouTube channel. If members of the public would like to have access to the recording of this meeting, they can do so via the Shire of Northam website, and that works. So item 3 is attendance. So we have councillors, all 9 councillors are in attendance. So as per my practice, I'll go from left to right to welcome the councillors. We have Councillor Biglan, Councillor Gierak, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Williams, Councillor Menchelli, President Antonio, Councillor Appleton, Councillor Poulton and Councillor Hughes. We have the staff here. So we have the Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Terralink, Acting Executive Manager Engineering Services, Mr. King, welcome. Executive Manager Development and Community Services, Mr. Hunt. Executive Manager Corporate Services, Mr. Young. Manager Governance and Risk, Ms. McCall. Manager Administration Engineering Services, Ms. Van Beek. And we have a new person in attendance whose surname I've forgotten. Yes, as said. So that's everyone in attendance. We have members of the gallery, they'll be noted in any minutes. So then we have item 3.2 on page 7 is apologies, which is nil. Item 3.3, approved leave of absence is nil. Item 3.4, absent is nil. So then we go to page 9, item 4. It should be page 9. I'll just check, see if that page is. No, page 8. It is page 8. Item number 4 is disclosure of interest. We do have some. Councillors can make these. They're either direct financial, indirect financial, proximity or impartiality. Councillors can make these either now or as the item comes up if they're aware of that. And they can do it before we discuss it next week during the ordinary council meeting. So the first one I have is item 13.1.1, lease of a portion of Reserve 44700, which is lot 29082, Fox Road, Burlong, Perth TQ Car Club. So the declaration is from President Antonio, that's myself. Vice President of Perth TQ Car Club Committee is ex-Shire of Northam Councillor and well known to President Antonio. Same item, so I won't go through the title, but 13.1.1, Councillor Williams has declared impartiality. The Vice President of the Perth TQ Car Club is a friend, and Councillor Williams has offered assistance if the speedway goes ahead. I think I've read that correctly. So the same item, Councillor Gierak, 13.1.1, has declared impartiality. The Vice President of the Perth TQ Car Club is known to Councillor Gierak. Item 13.3.1 is proposed changes to acknowledgement of country. Councillor Gierak has declared impartiality. Members of the Noongar Cultural Advisory Group are known to Councillor Gierak. And then we have item 14.1, Councillor Menchelli has declared impartiality, but that is behind closed doors. We'll deal with all the details of that then. So as I've stated, as councillors come up with an item, if there is a declaration of interest, they can make it. Councillor Ryan is making one for item 13.1.1. Correct. As impartial interest as he knows the Vice President of the TQ.
So, Mr. President, who is the Vice President?
Mr. Della, ex-councillor.
Sorry, Mr. Dalton. Ready and on.
Sorry?
What's Mr. Della?
Vice President of the PQ company.
Oh, I missed that, not really.
It's in the, on the last page of the report, it's just like the committee.
No, that wasn't any interest in that.
So councillor Hughes is also declaring.
Yeah, I might do the same.
Councillor mentioned.
And I'll also declare an interest in the NCAG one as well, seeing I chair that meeting.
That is the interest, the recording, that is item 13.3.1, proposed changes to acknowledgement of country. Councillor Mendel's declaring partiality. They'll come in and be read out in full next week. So we now go to page 9, which is announcements by the presiding member without discussion. So that is taken as read. And then we go to item number 6 on page 11, which is public questions. I don't believe we have any, but I'll just go to the members of the public. There's no questions. And then we're still on page 11, so we have item number 7, response to previous public questions taken on notice. That is nil. Item number 8 is receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. 8.1 petitions is nil. 8.2 presentations, just noted councillors that there are some that I'll be making presentations on behalf of community groups next week. So they're listed there, so that'll be dealt with next week. 8.3 is deputations. We have a request for a deputation from Mr. Della. Oh, I've got to say, can you just please come up to that microphone near Councillor Bigland? And I know most people know you. Can you please take your name?
Yes, I'm the Vice President of First City Car Parks. Thank you for having me along. It's been a little while since I've been around this desk. Just wanted to give a bit more context. Obviously, Alicia's done a good job preparing the agenda item around the lease of the Northern Speedway, but there's always a bit of background info that goes into it as well. So I think probably a lot of you would know there's been a lot of big promises around Northern Speedway over many years, which haven't really been delivered on. So it's probably gone back 20 odd years, I'd say. And previous leaseholders have probably burnt a lot of bridges, and I think in the report I'll highlight a lot of non-compliance historically as well. Fires being dumped and all sorts of stuff going on out there. So sort of moving from that, about I think 4 or 5 years ago, Rick and Sarah took on the lease. Rick is background as a businessman from Capital. He owns a very big international training company. He has retired, and as part of that retirement was planning to sell out from that business, which was the sort of investor in Northern Speedway, and he had a massive plan to develop that. So that's what kicked off. Unfortunately, through COVID, the sale of that business fell apart. A few pieces of the puzzle fell away. So the financial backing for that happened just disappeared, which meant again the project stalled. For Rick, I know in particular, it wasn't really it never was a money-making deal. It was a retirement project for him to give back and bring something back, but unfortunately doesn't have the financial opportunity to do that. So concurrent to that, the Car Club, who's obviously applying for the lease now, they've been around since the 1960s. So TQs are called three-quarter midgets. So they evolved over time to become Formula 500s, which I've started racing in 2016. I've raced for a bunch of years now. So very, very long club, long-standing club, who ran the Fiddler Lake Speedway for many, many years. So back in about 2004, due to urban sprawl, Fiddler Lake Speedway had to close. So they were shut down. They strongly advocated to secure more land, open up the Speedway. So that was about the time when the photo place was being developed. So the government had no real interest in spending money developing another Speedway. So they decided they would just run their funds dry, and they sort of forecast that would take them about 10 years to go broke, and then just wrap up after that time. But 20 years later, they're still going, and they said to the same committee that made that decision back then to run their funds dry with the same committee all the way through that 20 years. So they had enough in the large part, so they were looking to probably wrap up that committee. So discussions started between the committee and Rick around combining powers. So Rick has invested a lot through the process. I haven't I don't know for sure, but I've heard rumours somewhere in the realms of about $1 million being spent on infrastructure and bits and pieces, which if you go out there, it's a pile of dirt, a pile of tires, and there's not much there, but there has been a lot happening in the background. And then obviously I'm Perth CQ Car Club, who's got 60 odd years of history with a not-for-profit organisation and a very financial club that's been around for a long time, who always had an interest in reviving their own speedway track. It's sort of a perfect marriage. So a bunch of the previous committee members left their seats and a bunch of new guys came on, myself included. There is still very much a link to that previous committee, but essentially that's the context for the request. We're very mindful that there is a very long history of non-compliance and issues out there, and we're certainly not promising a $100 million facility like Sydney has got recently, but we certainly have the people in the community are involved, and even if that changed from a private enterprise to a not-for-profit group, the community support across Speedway has been huge. It's very hard for people to want to contribute resources and time and everything else to a private enterprise, but the talk around transitioning that to a not-for-profit being a lot of support. So from my side, obviously happy to answer any questions, but just want to give a bit more context around the request. Obviously, even in the name for TQ Car Club, probably sounds a little bit funny around Punalisa Speedway in Northern, but that's the context around that. And interestingly enough, when Perth TQ Car Club first formed, they actually ran some around houses racing in Northern back in the 1960s. So there is a link to Northern from 60 odd years ago. So yeah, that's context for the request. As I say, happy to answer any questions, and thanks for considering.
Thank you. So we'll get to that item in a minute, councillors. Won't take that long. Just want to check with the members of the gallery, any more deputations? No. So then we go to item number 9 on page 12, which is applications for leave of absence. That is nil. Item number 10 is confirmation of minutes. 10.1 is confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting held 26th of August 2025. Any questions on this, councillors? No questions or clarifications. Then 10.2, which is notes from the council board meeting, which is tonight, meeting held on the 10th of September. So that'll be a new item next week, so I'll open up for questions before we ask for a mover and a seconder. Then I go to page 13. So item number 11 is items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery. The item we just discussed is coming up very soon, so I'm going to leave it where it is. Item number 12 is reports of committee meetings. 12.1 is minutes from the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on 19th of August 2025. There's minutes and recommendations. Any questions, councillors? I did have one myself. Just wanted to clarify in the recommendation that the meeting held on the 18th of February. Just wanted to clarify that was right, or should it read as a more recent meeting? Yeah. Check that performance rate. Yeah. So that was the question. So any questions or clarifications, councillors? No. So then we go to page 15. So item 13 is officer reports. 13.1 is the CEO's office. 13.1.1 is lease of a portion of reserve 44700, lot 29082, Fox Road, Burlong, Perth, TQ Clark Club. I don't say quite as well as Mr. Fella. Did yourself, Debbie, or anyone want to provide a briefing, additional briefing on this?
I think that's been covered by Mr. Dillon, so we're happy to take any questions or clarifications.
So any questions or clarifications with this, councillors? Yeah, Councillor Poulton.
I had some questions and concerns about the continued non-compliance, but seems to have been pretty well covered.
Thank you. Further questions or clarifications? Oh, yeah, Councillor Long. Sorry, I wasn't trying to eyeball me to make sure you asked a question.
No. If this first approved, then we would end over in the light. We should ask.
What we would essentially need to do is prepare a lease agreement, and we would need to request the Minister for Land to provide consent for that. We will essentially work with the group to get that finalised, and then the development plan will also need to be done within the next 12 months, and that will sort of align with the stages of development in terms of what's proposed in their proposal, which is one of the attachments. And then that's, going to be approved by the CEO. So the resolution, the recommendation covers, that parameter as well. So, in terms of a date they're planning to be operational, I may ask Carl, but I don't think that's on the cards as yet. The intent is to have it, correct me if I'm wrong, a level 1 speedway initially. There's 5 stages, so as they develop the site, you know, hopefully they'll get to a higher stage initially, but at early stages, it's stage 1 day meets.
Further questions, clarifications, councillors? Yeah, councillor Whitman.
Do we foreshadow any issues with the minister review?
No, so the reserve is already classed as a recreational reserve. This is consistent with that. They have granted consent for previous leases with the same purpose, so we don't believe there will be any issues, but we still need to follow that process anyway.
Thanks. Further questions, clarifications? No, so we'll make a decision on it next week. And I've got to say to members of the public, after your item comes up, you're quite welcome to go or stay and enjoy our hospitality afterwards, so you don't need reference to me. I've got to say that. So, page 112. So 13.2 is engineering services, is nil. 13.3 is development and community services. I'll just invite up the relevant officer in case there's questions on this or just a briefing. 13.3.1 is proposed changes to acknowledgement of country. And I did forget to say that last item that just before we get Mr. Hunt to say, so just a reminder, Councillor Mancelli, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Hughes, President Antonio, Councillor Williams and Councillor Gierak all had a declaration of interest in this. With this 13.3.1 proposed changes to acknowledgement of country, both Councillors Gierak and Mancelli have declared an impartial interest. Mr. Hunt, would you like to explain anything on this one?
Look, it's fairly self-explanatory. It was a recommendation that came out of our Cultural Advisory Committee, so it's a slight change to the wording, which I think represents what the group thinks appropriate.
Yep. Thank you. So, any questions or clarifications? Yeah, Councillor Bolton.
I've had a lot of people in the community say concerns about Welcome to Country leaving out a significant proportion of the community. Is the Shire concerned about possible segregation and division within the community that this might cause?
I'll probably add to that, if the advisory group have recommended it, that we're coming from that's part of our reconciliation action plan to listen to the advisory group. I think the CEO's just got a little further comment just about how to make sure we handle that appropriately.
So certainly the intention is that if we're on Balladong country, it will recognise that, and then if we're in the west of the Shire, where we do have some Whadjuk community as well, that will be they will be included then in the acknowledgement if we're in that part of the Shire. The intention would also be if we're using the acknowledgement for a purpose that covers the whole of the local government, then we would continue as we do at the moment, where we would acknowledge both the Balladong and Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. So the intention would be that we would certainly, where there is something that was attributable to the whole of our Shire, we would recognise definitely both groups who are present within our Shire.
Got a question, Councillor Bolton?
Yep. Would the Shire be willing to make Welcome to Country more inclusive to all Australians in our community? As opposed to just working
the officer.
Just to clarify, this is acknowledgement of country, it's not welcome country. Welcome country is a totally different process that we don't do. So that's a question for the council, not for officers. We've been presented with a recommendation from our Cultural Advisory Committee about what we currently do to change the wording. I think that's a bigger question for the local members.
What I would clarify here as well is that this is a recommendation that has come and has been raised and has come directly from the advisory group. So it's not something that the Shire has raised with them, and it is something that the group has put forward themselves.
Councillor Hughes?
Is it possible when you have a meeting, sometimes there's 2 or 3 meetings in one go, or 3 or 4 speakers get up and they all acknowledge this? Is it possible you just have one, instead of everyone doing it as they get up and speak?
To answer the question, probably as possible, it depends on the speakers. So from the council's point of view, council would acknowledge country once, but I don't know how much control we'd have over state or federal politicians if they chose to do
I
so.
understand that, but sometimes we'll have, just got to speak a little bit now, just to answer what you said. Sometimes we'll have 2 or 3 things that you'll get up and you'll still have another acknowledgement to country in it.
I think the intent is to acknowledge country as a sign of respect, but to do it
Yeah, I understand,
once and properly. So
Yeah.
if we come across case examples, we'll revisit that anyway, councillor.
Okay.
Yeah, just to make sure.
I think that is something that we can review as part of speech notes and that type of thing, but the intention would be that that obviously we would acknowledge once, but if there are other people who are maybe speaking at the event, it's quite possible that they will do an acknowledgement as well.
Further questions or clarifications? Yeah, Councillor Williams?
Sorry, Mr. President, this is not actually either, but my laptop, Service Pro, has gone insane and it's going into black and I've lost my my agenda. So I was just wondering if I could possibly get a paper copy or something, please.
Well, yes, we can.
Thank you.
So further questions on this item, councillors? No, so then we've got 13.3.2, amendment to the Avon Valley Alliance Tourism MOU. Mr. Hunt, this one's if you want to provide any more briefing on it.
Again, it's fairly straightforward, they're just looking for.
Page 118, by the way, sorry.
Yeah, just for some accounting leader, which the Shire will undertake on behalf of the Alliance.
Questions or clarification, councillors? Then we go to page 129. No, it's Councillor Poulton.
Page 127. On Schedule C, incline support, it has the last dot point, assistance with staffing regional tourism, or IE. Is that supposed to be EG? And can I have some more information about why the annual caravan and camping expo is the only one included in there?
I think that should be an EG rather than IE. So it is an example of what they do. So that's just the one that they have done recently. So it could be other events that they could do in the future. That was just an example of what they've done in the past.
Where did that help? I saw it down in Perth.
It was held in Perth, yeah.
I think it's normally held in March each year, but it is a very big caravan and camping expo, and the Avon Valley obviously is represented there because of the number of opportunities, I guess, we have for people who are looking for day trips to come out to the Avon Valley. So that's the reason why there's quite a big influx of people looking for tourist opportunities as part of that show or that expo.
Would a better example might be agricultural shows, since every shire in the group has one that brings people out to something that we're currently doing, as opposed to something that's only occurring down there.
I think the idea with this one, I mean, again, it's only an example, so it could be that if we have the staffing resources, just recognising that there are a number of agricultural shows that are held and there's, for all local governments that are involved in the Alliance, they do have limitations in terms of their staff resources. But I think this is only an example, and the reason that they do this is specifically to, because it's a tourism alliance, they really are looking to draw people from the city to the Avon Valley.
Further questions, councillors, on this item? No? Thank you, Mr Hunt. Mr Young, you like to get worried? We're going to page 129. We've also got the attachment as well. 129 is the heading. So we're going to 13.4 collective services, 13.4.1 accounts and statements of accounts August 2025. Mr Young, to save your voice if you're not too well, I don't think you need to brief us on it too much, I guess, unless you'd like to.
No, we did have some questions today from Councillor Bigelow, which have been distributed that.
Correct. Correct. So anything else on that one? So that's August. No, so then we're still on page 1 to, I've got it on page 1. 13.4.2, so page 197 is. Page 197 is 13.4.2, financial statements for the period ending 31st of July 2025 and 31st of August 2025. That was a separate attachment, my apologies, councillor, so the financial statements, that was provided separately. Any explanation, anything you'd like to say, Mr Young?
I'll just say that they're a little bit different than normal. Some of the graphs have been removed as they just weren't very clear to read, so we're just working on them, trying to make them a bit more presentable. They will be added at next month's report.
Questions, councillors? Mr Young, I can't let you go without a question. So on page 15, this will be 15 of the financial statements attachment. I'll just go to that. 15 there. Just wanted to clarify, it was on both August and September. That's got the new loans. It's got the new loan 2025-26 budget as 1 mil, which we know about. That's fine. Then it's got the principal outstanding 1 mil budget and 1 year to date actual. Wouldn't the $1 million be showing in the new loans column as well? If it's in the budget and actuals? I just wanted to clarify. I'm just trying, it hasn't been drawn yet or not? That's probably the main question.
It would be shown in the actuals once we've drawn it, but at the moment we haven't actually drawn the loan, so it's not shown. Is that?
Yes, in the column on the right hand side, in the new loans, it's not shown as drawn, but in the principal outstanding, it is shown as drawn. I was a bit confused, so I just want to clarify that.
It should be in there. I'll have it looked.
Yeah. I just want to clarify that's all with that one. And I just want to make one more comment, Councillor, if I can. I just wanted to say page 36. It's all, I always ask about the rates. I was just going to say, how good is that to have rates collection? I'm trying to phrase it as a question. How good is that to have rates collection at a much better rate than other years?
Very good.
I'll try to make that a question to Councillor Jelly. Councillor Jelly?
Yeah, on page 35, Mr President, we've got a copy of the investment register, and it's got the current date 31st of the 8th, 26. Should be 25, should it not?
Questions, councillors? No.
No, on the financial statement, sorry. Page 11, it's the old post office. There's money put aside for that. That's not going to be spent, is it? Old post office, there's 70,000. That won't happen.
Don't know.
We don't know.
And on page, what was the page? 13, there's the old girls' guides hall. And here for they're gonna go up to 205,000, but it's sold 266.
So as the settles councillor uses, that'll be reflected in there with the figures. It's just showing us at the moment. Correct, Mr. Young, so.
And correct, it just settled in September.
Yeah.
So actually, it's sold by budget.
Oh, right, that's, okay.
It'll catch up and be corrected.
Yeah.
Get the process. Yeah. So further questions, councillors? No? That's yours, Mr. Young. Thank you. Lovely. I'm going to get there. Oh, yeah. Sorry, get there. Yeah, promise. We now go to page 198. I think it's 198. It is page 198, page there. So item 14 is matters behind closed doors. Councillor Mencelli's moving that. Councillor Bigland seconded it. The session to put that straight to vote. All those in favour, by show of hands. Tonight. Councillors, if you're going to stay, can you please go to the kitchen? 9 nil, that's carried. So we're on page 198 or 198. No, so it wasn't there. So then we're on page 198, so we've got item 15, motions which previous notice has been given, that's nil. Item 16, urgent business approved by decision, that's nil. Item 17, declaration of closure is made at 6:07 p.m. Thank you, councillors, for your questions. And thank you, officers, for your professional answers. Thank you to members of the public for providing a good briefing on what I